Day 5 of the NBA Plus. Let's go with the Rockets Thunder first. This actually turned out to be a very, very good game. It started out pretty even, but then Jeremy Lin got hurt sometime in the first half, which is bad news for the Thunder fans because that actually makes the Rockets put out an actual point guard. Okay, that was a little joke aside. All right, but then Patrick Beverly comes in, and where did this guy come from? I mean, he ended up the game with 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 16 points. He had 12 rebounds, and he's a point guard. Imagine, wow, that is pretty damn impressive. And he played some, and he was contained Westbrook for the longest time, but unfortunately, Westbrook's a lot more athletic than Patrick Beverly. But the game was relatively close. It was only a 2-point halftime lead for the Thunder, and then it only stretched out to 6, even though the Thunder tried to pull away in the third quarter, but the Rockets kept clawing back. And the thing I have with James Harden here, and that I noticed in the third quarter more than anything else, is that yes, he got 36 points. And yes, he got to the line 20 times. But he is afraid of mid-range jumpers, man. I mean, I've never seen a guy like. I understand that I understand he likes to shoot threes. He shot 7, but he only made 1. But when it comes to like 15, like 18 footers or something like that, mid-range jumpers, he's afraid to take it, even when he's wide open. And I don't understand that about him. And this was one of the couple questions I did have before he joined the Houston Rockets as a starter. Is could he play the role? But if you're going to be one of the most elite players in the league, you got to be unafraid to take those mid-range jumpers, and you got to just shoot it. It don't matter when you're open, take it. I mean, look at Kevin Durant. Do you think he's going to hesitate when he's wide open for a mid-range jumper? No. That's why he's one of the best players in the league. But my discretion, 6-point end of the third quarter lead, and then the Thunder jolted out to a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter. But the Rockets didn't go away. They kept climbing back. Harden did lead the way in that, though. And Chandler Parsons knocked down a couple of key shots. And eventually, the Rockets would take a 4-point lead. And then the Thunder would eventually claw back. And then Dabo Cephalos's 3 near the final minute of the quarter was the nail in the coffin, pretty much, as the Thunder escaped Houston 105 to 102. Durant and Westbrook at 29 apiece, and they shot pretty evenly too, 10 to 25 and 10 to 26. So very well. I mean, very good teamwork by the Thunder, and this is going to go a long way for the Thunder. I mean, if they could take about equal amount of shots and be consistent at it, and they could get maybe 1 or 2 other players that get like in the mid double digits, like 15 or something like that. And they didn't have that in game, but they did have a few other players in double digits, like Serge Ibaka at 12, Thabo at 11, and then Kevin Martin at 10. So it was scary at the end. I mean, to me, I think the Thunder should have put it away a long time ago once they had that 15-point lead. But they won the game, and it was very well. Now they got to go on the road to take one from Houston as they are up 2-0, and they want to try to end this series as quick as possible. Now, let's go on to the Hawks-Pacers. This is pretty much a repeat of Game 1. I mean, the Pacers' defense is too devouring of the Hawks. Josh Smith played better, I'll say that. He had 16 points on 6 rebounds. Al Horford had 10 rebounds but only 13 points. It's just the Hawks don't have enough scores, man. They don't have enough score. I mean, they did get 98 points, but their defense was just getting eaten alive as the Pacers continued to pound the ball. And then Paul George had another fantastic game, 27 points. He didn't get a triple-double this time, but he still played very well. George Hill was hitting his shots. He had 22. And really the Pacers just kept it on. It was a 9-point lead at halftime, and they've won every quarter in this game. The Hawks, it's like one day it's their offense, the next day it's their defense. And I think tonight was their defense, or last night rather. But either way, I think the Pacers are going to win this one in 5. The Hawks, I just don't think they have enough talent to overpower that Pacers defense. And even when they do, their defense is going to take a hit in the other end because Paul George or any of those guys are going to freaking hit. And David West only had 7 points this game. So all I got to say is the Hawks are in trouble, and it looks like the Pacers are about to visit the next round. But firstly, Game 3 will be at Atlanta on Saturday night. And now let's go on to Lakers Spurs. Now, Dwight Howard said he was more motivated to win this game. Jordan Hill returned. Unfortunately for the Lakers, Kobe Bryant did not, and he's not going to for the rest of this postseason. So the Spurs got out. I mean, Tony Parker did struggle in the beginning, and so did Tim. And no, Tim Duncan played right, but Monta Ginobili didn't take that many shots until the second quarter. The Spurs were up by 5 at the end of the first quarter, and then the second quarter, the Spurs just went on a little 3-point shooting spree. Whether it was Bonner or Monta Ginobili, they were hitting the threes, and they ended up clawing out to an 8-point halftime lead. And then the Lakers just couldn't get anything going as Dwight Howard picked up 4 quick fouls, and he ended up picking his 5th one early in the fourth quarter. And the Spurs were just too much. They had led as much as 17, and Tony Parker went on a killing spree in the freaking second half. I mean, he scored at one point. He scored 15. I think he scored 15 to the Spurs 22 points in the third quarter. He is, and they had questions about him in this series. Like, is he going to be ready? Well, it looked like it this series, and Monta Ginobili still played pretty well. He didn't play as well as he did in Game 1, but he played efficiently. He had 7 assists and 13 points. Parker ended up with 28.7 assists. And Duncan, Kawhi Leonard got 16 apiece, and Matt Bonner ended up chipping in 10. The problem with the Lakers is that Steve Nash, I don't think, is going to get recovered completely by the time this playoff series is over. He only had 9 points on 6 assists. And Dwight was held to 16. Pau Gasol was held to 13 on 5 of 14 shooting. Meta at 13. And Steve Blake at 16 on 6 of 15 shooting. There's just not enough outside perimeter shooting for the Lakers to win this series. So Spurs win at 102-91. Game 3, Friday night on ESPN at LA. I think the Lakers might come together to win that one game, but it'll be no more than that. That'll be all for those games. Be sure to come back on Thursday night or Friday morning for the recap of Thursday night's games. We got Bucks Heat at Milwaukee. Will Milwaukee finally win a game? I'm not too sure about that. Brooklyn at Chicago. This is going to be an interesting game, and I'll be looking forward to that one. And then the nightcap, we got Clippers Grizzlies, and I think the Grizzlies will take that game. And notice, and new news to be reported: Lynn says X-rays negative on bruised chest, so he could be back soon, but word will have to be spread out. And Joe Johnson thinks he's hopeful to play in tonight's game 3, but word will have to be wait around. But that's it. Be sure to come back later. I'm out.